I grew up in Evanston, Wyoming. It's about an hour from Salt Lake City. It's like 6 miles from the border of Utah. So it's a very interesting town. It's kind of a cross between like cowboys and Mormonism, which you would never think come together, but apparently they do. So I moved to Montana at the beginning of my sophomore year, and I spent my sophomore, junior, and senior year in Montana, and I graduated there before I came here. I never really thought of myself as like becoming a novelist or like a poet or any of the other forms of writing. I always thought that I would be best as a journalist because I wanted to be in the know about things, and I wanted to talk to people in real life, and I wanted to hear real life stories and be able to share those stories. And so I knew even from 6th grade that I wanted to do it, and the more that I dove into it, the more that I had experience with it, the more and more I just loved it. So I've never really seen a journalist and was like, oh, I want to do exactly that. It was like, I want to do this part of that, but not necessarily this. I think part of what lured me into journalism as well is the fact that you get to go to so many different places and experience so many different things and just have the world be your story. Like, be able to tell stories from around the world and be able to experience things. And even if you don't actually tell the story, you have your own stories. You have personal experiences and things that you get to enjoy, but also things that you see that are tragic and awful. And you get to have all of those experiences as a journalist. And so I think that was part of what drew me into it. So I've always wanted to travel and experience different cultures. And of course, as anything that you really dream about doing, it was much more difficult to move around than I thought it would be. It's much more challenging to be able to adapt to those different cultures, even from one side of the country to the next. It's much more difficult than I ever thought it would be to adapt and kind of realize what the differences in the culture is and be able to keep your own cultural identity but still experience the new one.